There's Ubehebe Peak. We're going to the top. Wow, looky here. Where are we now? We're definitely not in Baja, Mexico. We are in Death Valley, and we are off of a place called the Racetrack Road. We're on our way to Ubehebe Peak, and we're gonna climb a pretty awesome backcountry peak here in the middle of Death Valley. It's gonna give us a view down on the Saline Valley, which you can watch our previous video right here, one of the two, and you'll get to see that video. But this is going to be something I've wanted to do a long time. And a side note is we're going to also be based out of one of my favorite places in all of Death Valley, the Racetrack Playa, and I'm going to take you on a tour of that as well. Last night we drove in here on the Racetrack Road. It was getting late and we didn't go all the way in, and there's a few little spots along the Racetrack Road where you can camp legally here in the park. They want it to be a pre-disturbed area, meaning that you aren't just pulling off into virgin desert, but there's a handful of little spots along the road here, and none of them are great. This is kind of right on the edge of the road. Every time a vehicle goes by, you're getting dusted out a little bit, but it was really quiet, and it's actually pretty cold this morning, and it was a great place just to spend the night getting back in here. But we're gonna go all the way back to the racetrack. Come along for the ride. We've made it back out here to my big empty friend, the Racetrack Playa. This place is massive. I think it's over 5 miles across, and it just goes and goes, and it is flat as a pancake, and it seems like it's just desolate emptiness, but it is actually really cool out here. That was a 27-mile graded dirt road, but somehow it seems to have the worst washboard of almost anywhere I've ever been. So it's kind of known for shredding tires too. There's some very rocky sections. People epic back here all the time with blown tires, and so if you do come back in here, be prepared. Preferably you're gonna have some all-terrain tires that can take the rocks and the abuse. I'm also seeing a lot of rental Jeeps in here right now, so that might be a good way to go if you don't have an appropriate vehicle to come back here. This is also the spot of the mysterious moving rocks of Death Valley, and I'll take you guys over there and we'll look at those and see what's going on. Good morning, Death Valley National Park. Well, it's another beautiful day here. There's no wind, sun shines out, and I was first drawn to the racetrack when I saw a picture of a mysterious rock that seemed to be moving along the ground. The way I knew it was moving is it left a trail behind it. This seemed just fascinating to me, that a rock could move and leave a trail, and I had to come here and check it out. So years and years and years ago, we came out here and we discovered this place, and yes, we found the moving rocks, which I'm going to share with you here in just a second. But we also found just an amazing valley here that's been a place that we've returned to over and over again throughout our travels in the West. we have to go out and see our friends, the magical moving rocks of the Racetrack Playa. Okay, so here's a really good example to show you guys. This track probably goes 100 feet or more. It's very pronounced. The rock is even dug up a little bit of a bulldozer effect in the front. It's piled up sediment in the front.
This place is deceptively big. You think you're gonna come and take like a 5-minute walk, and then if you keep walking for 45 minutes, you're still in the middle of the playa. It's gigantic.
All right, if you guys come out here, please be respectful of the playa. Please don't touch the rocks. Please don't walk on their tracks, because that just erodes them and makes it not as spectacular for future visitors. Also, if it's wet out here, please stay off the playa. See all these footprints here? Somebody walked out here when it was wet, and they have created tracks that are probably going to be here for at least 5 years, maybe much longer. It takes forever for this stuff to remove scars, and that's part of what makes it so great and why the rocks are so special. Is when they move, they leave the track, and it lasts a long time. But just come out here with a explorer's heart and be ready to walk around out on this playa for possibly miles and miles, and you will find the mysterious moving rocks. So for years and years and years, people have theorized about what makes these rocks move. Some people thought it was gravitational pull. Some people thought it was just the wind blowing them around. Some people thought it was aliens. Some people thought it was all a hoax for tourism and somebody was coming out here and moving them and making these trenches behind them. So there's been all these theories, and recently some scientists dug in and really studied these rocks and found the real reason why the rocks move.
So the way this works is every once in a while, Death Valley will get enough rain that it fills up the playa with a little bit of water. And if that happens in the winter, a sheet of ice can form over the top. That ice then traps these rocks that fell down off the bluff into a giant sheet of ice. And as these sheets break up, they can hold multiple rocks in the same sheet, or the rocks can be trapped in different sheets, which explains why sometimes the rocks move in parallel and sometimes they move in contrasting directions. And occasionally you'll even get a cool spiral trail where like a dirt devil has come through and spun the rocks around in circles. It's a pretty extraordinary place.
Good morning, Death Valley. We are back here at the Racetrack Playa at a cool little camp called Homestake. It's on the far end of the Racetrack Road after you pass the Racetrack Playa. But it is a beautiful day. We're coming out of a very windy period, and finally today seems like it's going to be a really nice day with hardly any wind and a perfect day for us to try to climb Ubehebe Peak. Ubehebe Peak is a very classically shaped mountain. It's got a pointy summit and it sits right on the edge of the Racetrack Playa. We're going to climb it by the hiking trail that goes up from the grandstand parking lot. You can see down onto the racetrack. It gives you a view like I've never seen before. And you can also see over into the Saline Valley, which is another really cool place that we've explored. It'll be neat to see that from that angle. So we're going to do a quick breakfast here at the Homestake camp, and then we're going to drive over to the other side of the racetrack where the trailhead is and start walking. All right, here we are at the Racetrack Playa. We're at the actual grandstand parking lot, which is those rocks that are right out there in the middle of the playa. But we are headed up Ubehebe Peak, which is right here. We've got about a 2-mile hike to the summit, 4 miles or so round trip.
So we've got about a 2,300 foot gain, which is a little over 1,000 feet per mile. So it's gonna be a steep one, but it'll be worth it at the top.
All right, so here we go, up Ubehebe Peak. Getting hot. All right, it is getting steeper and steeper, but we're getting higher and higher.
Warming up, time for me to shed. Whew. Let's go.
It really seems like we've made some progress now. You can see way down there, that little island at the bottom of the racetrack. That is the grandstand. And it's always neat to see when you climb peaks like this and in the Tetons and places where you have a flat area going right up to the mountains and the mountains just shoot out of it. It's always cool because you really get a sense of how far you've come.
We've come a long way.
Yeah, so we're on the middle of the switchbacks right now. We're not far from what we're calling the saddle, which is where we actually go over the other side of this little mountain range. And I think from there we're gonna go up the backside. Here we go, we're gonna keep trudging. We're just like two little tractors, just chugging our way up this.
I think I can, I know I can, really.
We are almost to the saddle here. I can see it right there. And we're gonna at least be on the saddle and be able to see to the other side, and that's always exciting. And I'm really looking forward to seeing down into the Saline Valley.
Almost there. Gonna make it.
All right, we made it to the saddle. Look at how far we've come, all the way down there, but we still have to go all the way up there. All right, there's our first time getting lost. We came from the saddle down here, cut across this other little knob, and the trail just ended. We consulted our map and quickly found out that the trail goes more up this ridge. So we should have come from the saddle right up the ridge, and it's gonna take us to the first summit. No big deal, probably cost us 15 minutes. But we're back on track. Look out here at the Saline Valley though. It's pretty amazing. You know, these are two distinctly different places that I've accessed from different trips and different roads. And they seem like they're a world apart, but really it's just this ridge that separates the two. We're kind of walking these little ledges here, and it's pretty easy going for the most part. Still kind of steep, and then there are little scrambly bits every so often, but for the most part it's a pretty decent trail. Okay, I might have said this already, but we're getting close. This is a really dramatic way to see Death Valley. All right, here is the summit of what we're going to call the first summit. Here's the rounded little second summit. And here is the real summit. Ugh, I don't really want to walk down this gully and then back up the other side, but that's what we got to do. Here's our first summit. All right, almost there. A couple more steps. All right, here we are on the top.
Yahoo!
There's the racetrack. It's really cool to see it from this angle. So we're on the summit that, when you're looking up here from the Racetrack Playa, that is the coolest, pointiest, most awesome summit. But it is not the highest point. The other one is, I don't know, maybe 100 feet taller and quite a ways over there. And we're sitting here discussing, like, boy, we're really happy to be on this summit right here. Like, this is a great experience. It's got a commanding position. We've got a 360 view, all the things that you want in a summit. But the one little thing, it's not the highest point. So I think, as much as we don't really want to walk over to this other summit that is the highest point, we're gonna do it. And it kind of hurts because it's kind of just a rounded summit. It's not near as pointy and neat as this one, but it is the highest point. And mountaineering tradition, you always go for the top, and this isn't the top.
Well, this is a top.
It's a top, but it's not the top. So
wait, let me get this right. We're gonna walk downhill and back uphill another mile to go hit the highest point so we can be 100 feet higher?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, you're killing me, buddy.
So we're taking a little break here on the summit of our first peak, and we're gonna go try to bag the second peak, which is the real Ubehebe. Which is, we're gonna go bag the real peak, which is the real Ubehebe Peak. Oh wow, looky here. I thought this was a cairn. Woohoo! Summit register! Now you guys, this is not a geocache. In our last video where we climbed a summit, you called this a geocache. This is a summit register. Very different thing. These were up here before there were even GPSs, so it can't be a geocache. Oh, cool. Gosh, I forgot my stickers once again. I always like putting a sticker on it. Okay, there's a pencil in here. Let me fish it out. Let's see, it's glass. Be careful with that one. I'm gonna sit down here and let's check out the summit register. It's a cute little one. It's probably a lot of people are like, I wish this was the real summit. So in here, the title of it, the summit of this is Ubehebe, which is kind of like us. We wish that this was the real Ubehebe Peak, and it's not. So that's really funny. Okay, so I'm gonna flip through here. Boy, they're from 2020.
Oh, look and see if my name's in there.
2021.
I found from when I climbed this in 2020, I found where I signed the summit register. So that's pretty cool. I was up here on 11/29/2020. What of you? Kathy Holcombe, Famagogo. Ha, that's cool.
So there's a lot of dates coming back, like 2020, and I think I saw it 2019 even. But I'm gonna sign this. All right, we did it. We signed the summit register for Ubehebe Peak. I love it. That's even a better name than Ubehebe Peak. So I'm gonna tuck this away, put this back in the glass bottle where it's protected, and off we go. Hopefully to the summit of Ubehebe Peak. Well, it's a little heartbreaking that this isn't the real summit, and we've got to go now all the way over there. And the worst part of it is there's a big notch between the two. That means we've got to lose a lot of elevation, and then gain a lot of elevation, and then on the way back, lose and gain elevation again. So, boy, this is a convoluted route, but that's how most of these climbs in the mountains are when you're going for summits. Tiny little slippery rocks that are over bigger rocks, but it is kind of treacherous. Wow, that was some foreshadowing. We're down from Ubehebe Peak, and we're making the traverse over to this saddle to where we'll get a better glimpse of what we have to do to get up Ubehebe Peak. All right, there's Ubehebe. Boy, it seems like an eternity away. What looks cooler to you? This summit or this summit? Actually, from this angle, this one looks pretty cool from right here. But down at the racetrack, this just looks like a little domey blob. Not sure if this is the saddle or it drops down one more. Okay, people are notorious for making bad calls and going down steep gullies and end up getting in a worse situation. I see a little footpath going down there that I think is just people being suckered in there. So we're gonna try to go around over here on the other side and avoid this huge gully that looks like it's just full of loose rocks.
The map shows us just staying right on this ridge.
And I think we go through it right here, this little notch we climb through, puts us over to the other side and avoiding the big death gully.
Whose stupid idea was this anyway? Oh, jeez. You think this is it?
I think it goes down and around over here.
I just think I don't want to do this bad. We already had an amazing summit, and this is like loose and chossy and scrambly, and I don't know, this isn't so fun. I'm gonna stay here.
You gonna wait there?
I'm gonna stay here, right here.
Do you mind if I go on to the summit?
Do it.
Okay, I'm gonna scramble up to the summit and then I'll come back for you.
Okay, have fun, be careful.
I'll be careful. She's had a great day and she's feeling like she doesn't want to scramble this ridge and deal with all these little ball bearing rocks. And it is kind of nasty up here. I just can't leave good enough alone, I guess. I have got summit fever. I'm close to the summit and I am just gonna push on and tag it real quick and then come right back down to her. So here we go. It's just right there. I'm so close. There's a lot of little offshooty trails, and I mean, just the way the geology is up here, it's hard to know exactly if you're going the right way, but there are some cairns that really help. It's getting steeper and looser, but I'm getting close. So there's this nice little pile of rocks here blocking what seems like the trail. Made me think, why does someone not want me to go there? Because the trail actually goes up here. Here's a cairn, and there's some more up there. So this is what we call sucker route, and hopefully whoever built it and made these cairns knows which way to go, because that's the way I'm going. The trail here gets really faint. Seems like there's a handful of ways you can go. A lot of it is just up loose stuff like this, but I think that's the summit. This is gonna really suck coming down. Way easier to go up than down in the loose stuff. You have a lot more potential to slip going down. So I'm gonna take my time and just pick my way down. There it is, the summit. Oh, I'm gassed, and I can see the summit. I feel like I'm really close. It looks like I go back down and then up. I hate mountains that you spend a lot of energy gaining elevation and then you just lose it to then have to regain it. Okay, I guess we gotta do it. Well, it does feel good to take a few steps down, but I'm close. All right, I'm back on some cairns, but boy, this is just a rubble field up here. They're getting to be bigger blocks, and they don't seem like they're cemented in as well. All right, the angle's easing off. I am close. Really close. It's almost flat, and now I have to find the true highest point, and there will be a summit register up here. So is this the highest point? I think this is higher. Here it is. How do I know this is the highest point? It has a USGS geological survey marker concreted onto the top of it, and those are always in the highest point or very close to the highest point. Yes, I made it! Top side! Oh, feels good to be up here. I see the summit register. And it's a pretty special day when you get to put your name in 2 summit registers. Let me show you what this looks like. Ubehebe Peak elevation 5,678. Made it. All right, here it is. Here's the register, Ubehebe Peak. Let's see what we got in here. Ah, yeah. Let's see. Once again, there's a typical bag of little notes and things. And then here's the real register. So let's open this up. This register was put here September 18th, 2013. Wow. And it says you can find the earlier register online at someone's email here, and that's pretty neat. So they are preserving this. So gosh, let's see if there's even a spot in here for me to sign it. It does not look like it. The last one in here is from 7/21. Kind of out of, oh, hold on. Here's another register. All right, here we go. All right, signed it. I'm gonna tuck this away. I'm gonna take a second. Let's see, I'll just put this one in loose. Let's see what else in here. Somebody left their pepper spray. I don't know. There's normally a big, oh my gosh, there's all these letters up here. People are leaving letters. I think they might be leaving them to themselves. And they say things like, don't open until 2030, don't open until 2050, stuff like that. So maybe there's people that are gonna come back up here and treat these as kind of like a little time capsule. I think that's kind of cool. But I'm gonna tuck those back in, keep those safe. I'm gonna put both the other registers in there. Thankfully there's a pin, because I forgot mine today. And I'll seal this up. And I'm gonna tuck this away where I found it. It was kind of hiding under a boulder here where it's kind of out of the wind and out of the elements a little bit. And we're gonna head down. I wanna thank you guys for watching this video. This was a little different, being that we're climbing a peak. But you know, this is why we have a van. This is why we go on these adventures and why we travel, is to come and do things like this. And I hope this inspires you all to get out there, go on your own adventures, maybe come up Ubehebe Peak someday. And let's make this channel a community. Please leave a comment below, ask a question, leave me your favorite place. Give me a recommendation, a place I should go check out. I love doing these things. I love exploring. I love going new places. And that's what I want to mostly share with you guys on this channel. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to my Patreon and Super Thanks members. I really appreciate the support. It goes a long way. You guys, just a little bit really helps us a lot. And more than anything, it's the inspiration for me to keep editing these videos late at night when I'm working on this stuff after we're done with the fun part. So knowing you guys are behind me really makes a difference in putting that extra effort in and coming out here and creating this content. So I really thank you for giving me that feedback and spurring me on to my next adventures. But from the summit of Ubehebe Peak in Death Valley, I hope I see you somewhere over the horizon. Take care. Peter Holcombe signing out. I'm going to stash the camera away. I've got a really tricky, arduous descent to get back down, to get Kathy, and then get back all the way to our van, which is just a little speck on the desert floor down there. I'm already tired, but we're going to do it, and it's going to be great. So we'll see you next time.